in this class, we are going to go over questions on bearing and distance. Okay, let's start with the first question. Tan P is on a bearing of 315 degrees from tan Q. While tan R is south of tan P and west of tan Q. If tan R is 60 kilometers away from Q, how far is R from P? Okay. Tan P is on a bearing of 315 degrees. So let's start with tan P. Tan P, a bearing of 315 degrees, that is something of this kind. Tan P is on a bearing of 315 degrees from tan Q. So this will be Q and P will be here. Do you understand? You see, in bearing, you must be able to interpret the questions into diagram. Do you understand? So that's one of the important things that you have to learn in bearing. If you look at that question, tan P is on a bearing of 315 degrees from tan Q. The meaning of that statement is that the bearing of P from Q is 315 degrees. Do you understand? So let's proceed. Why tan R is south of tan P? Okay, now this is north and this is south. Are you getting it? So this is the south of tan P. It is tan R is south of tan P and west of tan Q. So north, south, west. So it is west of tan Q. So this will be tan R. If you didn't understand, listen to the explanation again. The question starts by saying that the tan P is on a bearing of 315 degrees from tan Q. That means that the bearing of tan P from Q is 315 degrees. Then another tan R is south of tan P. So, and we know that in bearing, this is north pole, this is the south pole, and tan R is south of tan P. So that means that the direction of tan R with respect to P is this. And this tan R is also west of tan Q. So this is what? North, south, west, east. So west is at this side. So this is tan P and tan R. Do you understand? Okay. We are not given that if tan R is 60 kilometers away from Q. So this is 60 kilometers. Tan R is 60 kilometers away from tan Q. That is, the distance between tan R and tan Q is 60 kilometers. Are you getting it? Okay. How far is R from P? How far is R? How far is R from P? Do you know what you are looking for now? You are looking for this distance. Okay. You are looking for the distance between tan R and P. Now listen to me carefully. We have already interpreted the diagram. This angle that you see here is what? 90 degrees. What kind of triangle are we going to have? We have here? We are having right angle triangle, right? So this is the hypotenuse. This is the what? Opposite. Are you getting it? And this is the adjacent. Okay. We are looking for the opposite. We've been given the adjacent. Let me even bring it out. Let me bring out the triangle. Okay. This is R. This is Q. And this is P. This is hypotenuse. Adjacent has been given as 60 kilometers. And we are looking for the opposite. Okay. Now, before I can calculate the opposite, I need this angle that is here. Are you getting it? That is, I need this angle. This angle that you see here, I need it. Now, how can I calculate the angle? Don't forget that from the question, we've been given that the angle that comes from this point to this point is what? 315 degrees. Is that not it? So if this one is 315 degrees, I can get this smallest angle because the angle that comes from this point to this point is 270. You understand? This angle is 270 degrees. So to get the smallest angle that is here, I just have to subtract 270 degrees from 315 degrees. Let me even represent these angles as x, okay? Or theta. Let's represent as theta. Let's represent as theta, okay? So theta plus 270 degrees. Theta plus 270 degrees equals to 315 degrees. Do you get it? That is, this angle that is here, this smallest angle plus 270 degrees. How do I got 270 degrees? From this point to this point is 90. From this point to this point is 180. From this point to this point is what? 270. So 270 plus the angle that is here will give me 315 degrees. Is that not it? So I represent that smallest angle as theta. So theta plus 270 degree will give me 315 degree. Do you understand? Okay, to get the value of theta, theta equals to 315 degree minus 270 degree. Okay, theta is equals to 315 degree minus 270 degree. That is 45 degrees. So I'm going to have 45 degree. Okay, so the angle here, theta is 45 degree. Okay, now having gotten the value of theta as 45 degree, with respect to the information that we have in this right angle triangle, how can we calculate the opposite? What trigonometric ratio are we going to use? You see, listen to me carefully. In bearing, angle of elevation and depression, there is no way you can escape the basic trigonometric ratio. So if you are not strong in that aspect, there is a link in the description of this video. Make sure you click on that link and watch all the class, okay? You are going to be exposed to different exam questions, past exam questions that can help you. Are you getting it? So make sure you watch. So this is 45 degree. Opposite and adjacent. The trigonometric ratio that is suitable for that is what? That is tan. So I'm going to have tan theta equals to what? Opposite over adjacent, okay? So tan 45 degree equals to opposite. The opposite is not known. So let's just represent as y. Y all over adjacent is 60. So I'm going to have y over 60. So tan 45 degree is 1, you know. So 1 equals to y over 60. So y equals to 60 times 1. Y equals to 60 kilometers. So the distance between R and P, the distance between tan R and P is also what? 60 kilometers. Do you understand? Okay, so that is the solution to that question. Let's proceed to the next question. The bearing of 2 points Q and R from a point P are 30 degree and 120 degree respectively. If PQ equals to 12 centimeter and line PR equals to 5 centimeter, find the distance QR. Okay, you see in bearing, you first have to draw out the diagram. Okay, so let's start by drawing the diagram. The bearing of 2 points Q and R from point P. So let's first draw the P. This is point P. Okay, so the bearing of 2 points Q and R from point P are 30 degree and 120 degree respectively. Do you know the meaning? That is, the bearing of Q from P is 30 degree and the bearing of R from P is 120 degree. Do you understand? Okay, so let's start with Q. The bearing of Q from P is 30 degree. So I'm going to have 30 degree, and the bearing of R from P is 120 degrees. So 120 will be in the second quadrant around here. So we're going to have something like this. Do you understand? Okay, so this is P, then this is Q, and this is R. Do you understand? Okay, now the goal is to find distance. Don't forget that we've been given in the question that line PQ is 12 centimeters. So this is 12 centimeters, and line PR is 5 centimeters. So this is 5 centimeters. Do you understand? Okay, let me draw this very well. I want to draw this cardinal point. Let me draw it very well. Do you understand? So this is PQR. Okay, now we are looking for distance QR, that is the distance from this point to this point. We are looking for this distance. Okay, what a beautiful question. Now, how can we find this distance? To get this distance, we are going to make use of cosine rule. You understand? Because we are given this side and this side, and we are looking for this side. We are given two sides. So, and to make use of cosine rule, I need the angle that this distance face. Are you getting it? This side that you see here, I need the angle that it faces. And this side is facing this angle, you know. So I need this angle. I need this angle. I need this angle. How do I calculate this angle? Just pay attention. If this is P, let me represent it as small p. If this is R, I'm going to represent it as small r. And this is Q, I'm going to represent this as what? Small q. Do you understand? Small letter Q. Okay, to get this distance, this is 30 degrees, and we know that the sum of angle in this point to this point is what? 90 degree, you know. So 90 minus 30 degree will give me 60. So I'm going to have 60 here. Do you understand? And we know that from this point, listen, from the question, from this point to this point is what? 120. Let me draw the diagram. Okay, this is point P. This is point P, okay? Now, this one is 30 degree. Now, from this point to this point is what? 90, right? You know? So, if this is 30 degree, this is what? 60 degree. That will be what? 90 minus 30 degree, Abi. Now, the next one is that we are given in the question that from this point to this point is what? 120. Is that not it? From this point to this point, listen. From this point to this point is 120. Now, if I want to get this smallest angle that is here, that will be what? 120. This is 180, you know. This one that you see here is 180. And from this point to this point is 120. If I want to get the smallest angle that is here, that will be what? 180 minus 120, right? That is what? That is 60. So if this angle is 60, this angle will be what? 30 degree. Because from this point to this point is 90. It's simple. You see, I want you to understand. That's why I bring out this cardinal point. This cardinal point is for P. Are you getting it? We are dealing with the cardinal point that I bring out here is P. Now let me explain again. From this point to this point is 30, right? That means that in the first quadrant, the angles is 90. So 90 minus 30 will give me 60. And in the question, we are given that from this point, from this line, from the North Pole to this point is 120. So if I want to get the smallest angle that is here, that's what? 180 minus 120, because now we are on the second quadrant. Are you getting it? Clockwisely, we are on the second quadrant. So 180 minus 120 will give me 60. That's why I have this 60. Now, if this is 60, this will be 30. How? Because the angle in the second quadrant, clockwisely now, I'm dealing with it clockwisely. The angle in the second quadrant here will be what? 90. So 90 minus 60 is 30. Are you getting it? So the angle that is here will be 30. This angle will be 30 degree. So 60 plus 30 is 90. So this angle here is 90 degree. Do you understand? If you understand, listen to the explanation again. It's simple, okay? That's why I take time to bring out this diagram. Now, having gotten this as 90 degree, that means that this triangle is a right angle triangle. Are you getting it? So we can make use of Pythagoras theorem. We can make use of Pythagoras theorem to get this side. So let's just proceed. You can redraw the triangle like this. You can redraw the triangle. We have, right? This is P, this is Q, and this is R. This is 90 degree, okay? This is hypotenuse, right? And this is 12 centimeter. This is what? 5 centimeter. You can see that the question is as simple as ABC. All you have to do is just understand what they want you to do and what you are given in the question, okay? So now, how do we get the hypotenuse? Based on Pythagoras theorem, hypotenuse squared is equals to opposite squared. The opposite is what? 12 centimeters. So 12 squared plus adjacent squared. The adjacent is what? 5 centimeters. So I'm going to have 5 squared. So the hypotenuse squared is equals to 144 plus 25. Okay? So the hypotenuse squared is equals to 169. To get the hypotenuse, you have to take the square root of both sides. So square root of 169 is what? 13, right? So this side is 13 centimeter. So the distance between QR is what? 13 centimeter. 13 centimeter. You can see that it's simple. So if you come across the question of this kind in exam, the first step is that you have to bring out the diagram, okay? And when you are done with the diagram, you can now proceed to calculate what they ask you to calculate. And please, let me remind you, if you bring out the wrong diagram, you might find it hard to get the right answer, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? And please make sure that anytime you are solving a question of this kind in a theory, diagram is very important. But if it is objective, you can neglect the diagram, because in objective question, you are not required to show your solution. Do you get it? Okay, so let's proceed to the next question. An aircraft flies 70 kilometers on a bearing of north 30 degree east. then flies 130 kilometers due east. How far east from the starting point is the aircraft? Okay, now let us first bring out the diagram that we can have from the question. An aircraft flies 70 kilometers on a bearing of north 30 degrees east. So 70 kilometers, this is north, this is the south pole, west and east. So north 30 degrees east we felt along this side, 70 kilometers. Okay, north 30 degrees east, 30 degrees. Okay, it then, listen, it then flies 130 kilometers due east. 130 kilometers due east. So having gotten to this point, the aircraft flies 130 kilometers due east. So, and we know that this is north, this is south, this is west, and this is east. So 130 kilometers. And this is what? 70 kilometers. Okay? Draw the cardinal point. Now, the goals of the question is to calculate the how far east from the starting point is the aircraft. So this is what we are looking for. We are looking for this distance. Now, pay attention to the question. Let me call this point A. Let's call this one B. Let us call this one C. We are looking for AC. Now, listen. If you want to get the value of AC, are you going to use sine rule or cosine rule? You are going to make use of sine rule. The simple reason is because you are given this 70 kilometers, you are given 130 kilometers. That is two sides, right? Now, you can determine the value of this angle. And because it is this angle that faces this side, that means that we can easily employ cosine rule to find the value of AC. Are you getting it? So, because this side that you see here face side B is the side that faces angle B. So, we can represent that small letter B. Do you understand? And this side that you see here face the angle, which is angle C. You can represent that small letter C. And this side that you see here faces this angle, which is A. You can represent that small letter A. Do you understand? Okay, now, before we can make use of cosine rule, we need the angle that is here. To get this angle, we know that this angle is 30 degrees. This angle that you see here is alternate to this angle. This will also be what? 30 degrees. Do you understand? And because, listen, this angle that you see here is 90. So 90 plus 30 is what? 120. So the sum of angle here is 120 degrees. So let's proceed. With respect to the diagram that we have on the board, we can bring out this diagram. Right? So this is 120 degree, 130 kilometers. This is C, this is B, this is A, and this is small letter A, this is small letter B, this is small letter C, and this is 70 kilometers. Okay? Now, with respect to what we have here, we are looking for this side. According to cosine rule, the square of the side that you are looking for is equals to the sum of the square of the other two sides that you are given. So that will be what? A squared plus C squared. Because we are given side A. Side A is what? 130 kilometers. And side C is what? 70 kilometers. Abi? Minus 2 multiplied by the product of the side that you are given, which is what? AC. Cos the angle that faces the side that you are looking for. So that is what? Cos 120 degrees. Oh, okay, let me use cos B. Cos big letter, okay? Big letter B. Do you understand the solution? Okay. Now, B squared is equals to A squared. A is 130. I'm going to have 130 kilometers, 130 squared, plus C is what? 70. So I'm going to have 70 squared minus 2 multiplied by 130 times 70 cos. Now, B is what? 120 degrees. Cos 120 degrees. Do you understand? Okay? You can see that it's simple. All you have to do is just master the step very well. If you are able to master the step, you'll be able to solve any question on it. I'm going to have B squared is equals to 130 squared is 16,900. Then 70 squared is what? 4,900. Minus 2 multiplied by 130 times 70. That is 9,100. Okay? Cos 120. Cos 120 is the same thing as what? Cos 60. And cos 60 is what? 0.5. So I'm going to have 0.5. Do you understand? You can verify. Cos 120 is, okay, is negative 0.5. Sorry. It's minus 0.5. Because it is now in the
it is the second quadrant, and in the second quadrant only sine is positive, you understand, while other trigonometric ratio are negative. Do you get it? So it is negative 0.5. Now b squared is equals to 16,900 plus 4,900, that is 21,800. So I'm going to have 21,800 minus 18,200 multiplied by minus 0.5. Okay, do you understand? Okay, so for this I'm going to have b squared is equals to 21,800. Now 18,200 minus 18,200 multiplied by negative 0.5, that is what? Negative 9,000. Okay, positive 9,100. Okay, b squared is equals to 21,800 plus 9,100, that is what? 30,900. So to get the value of b, you take the square root of both sides. So b is equals to square root of 30,900. That is 175.7. You understand? 175.78. Okay, to one decimal place, that is what? 175.8. What is the unit? Kilometer. Okay, so the value of the distance between AC is what? 175.8 kilometer, or 176. Okay, just approximate it to the nearest whole number. 176 kilometer. So I'm very sure you understand the solution to that question. So listen to me carefully. If you want to master when to use cosine rule and sine rule, there is a link in the description of this video. Click on that link and learn more on cosine rule and sine rule. Okay, so because you cannot escape it when you are dealing with bearing and distance. Okay, you're going to see as we progress in these questions. The bearing of a school library from the sick bay is 310 degrees. From the commandment office, 317 meters due east of the sick bay. The bearing of the school library is 288 degrees. How far is the library from the sick bay? Now, please pay attention. In bearing, there is no way we can do without diagram. Okay, so we have to first draw the diagram. Now, the bearing of a school library from a sick bay is 310 degrees. So let us call this point the sick bay. You understand? Let's represent the sick bay as S. So the bearing of the school from the sick bay is 310 degrees. That means that the angle comes from this point to this point, 310 degrees. Okay, you know, if you want to learn more on bearing, don't skip any class. Okay, in the first class, if you have not watched the first class, watch it. Okay, you will find the link in the description of this video. Do you understand? Okay, so this is 310 degrees. 310. Okay, now from the commandment office, 317 meters due east of the sick bay. Okay, from the commandment office, listen to that question. Pay attention to that statement. From the commandment office, 317 meters due east of the sick bay. This is the sick bay. This is the north, this is the south, this is the west, and this is the east. So let me change the marker. So east of the sick bay simply means this side, right? And the distance is what? 317 meters. The commandment office is the east side, is along the east side of the sick bay. And if this is the north pole, this is the south pole, west and east. So it means that the commandment office is with respect to this side from the sick bay. And that means that they have given us the distance as what? 370 meters. So are you getting it? Now draw another cardinal point. Okay, the bearing of the school from the commandment office, 370 meters due east of the sick bay. The bearing of the school library is 288 degrees. Okay, so the bearing of the school from the commandment office is 288 degrees. You can see how I interpreted the question. So in bearing, your ability to interpret the question that you're given into diagram is the first knowledge that you must first have. Are you getting it? So this is the sick bay, this is the school. Let's represent the school as C, and let us represent, okay, let's represent the school as A, and let's represent the commandment office as C. You understand? So sick bay, school, and the commandment office. The bearing of the school from the commandment office is what? 288 degree, and from this point to this point is 90, to this point 180, to this point 270. That means that around this side is 288 degree. Do you understand? So let us go the line. Okay, do you understand the diagram now? So now, with respect to what we have here, we are asked to calculate the distance between the library and the sick bay. The distance between the library and the sick bay. This is the school library. Let's represent as L, school library. We are looking for this distance. How can we calculate this distance? We are given this side as 317 centimeter. We are looking for this side, which is small letter C. This is small letter S. This is small letter S, and this is small letter L. To get this distance, let us first determine the angle that we have here. You know that this point, from this point to this point is what? 270, right? So if I want to get the smallest angle that is here, what am I going to do? I'm going to subtract 270 degree from 288, right? So 288 minus 270 degree, that is 18 degree. So here will be 18 degree. The angle here is 18 degree. Do you understand? Now, let us get the angle that is here as well. Let us get this angle. Okay, how can we get this angle? Since we know that, please listen to it carefully. We know that from this point to this point is what? 310 degree. And we know that the sum of angles on this cardinal point is 360. So this smallest angle will be what? 50 degree. Do you understand? And because this is the first quadrant, the angle that ranges from this point to this point is what? 90 degrees. So I'm going to have 90 here. Hence, it is, sorry, this is 90, okay? 90 plus 50 degree, that is what? 140 degrees. So I'm going to have here will be 140 degree. Now, with respect to what we have in this diagram, we can easily determine the distance between the school library and the sick bay using the sine rule. The simple reason why we are going to make use of the sine rule is because we have two angles in this triangle now, and we know one side. So we can easily determine the side, this side. So according to sine rule is A over sine A equals to B over sine B. Okay, where A is the side and sine A, small letter A is the side, and big letter A, capital letter A is the angle that side A face. You understand? And B is also one side, and capital letter B is the side that side B face. You understand? The angle that side B face is capital letter B. Now, with respect to this diagram, we are looking for LS. We are looking for line LS. Line LS is represented as small letter C. So I'm going to have C all over sine C. Is that not it? C all over, listen, it's simple. It's simple. C all over sine C equals to, now we are given this side. Oh, we are given this side. The side that are given is what? L. L all over sine L. That means that the angle that we even need is this angle. We need this smallest angle. Are you getting it? And to get this smallest angle, we can make use of the sum of angles in a triangle. You understand? Because triangle LSC is a triangle. LSC is a triangle. We can bring it out. This is it. I'm just trying to make sure that you didn't, the diagram is very correct. Let me redraw this line. The line comes from this point to something like this. So this is what? 140 degree, and this is 18 degree. So let's represent this as theta, okay? Do you know the reason why I need this angle? The simple reason is because L has been given as 370 meter as from the question. Now I need the this angle here because I need to take the sine of that angle according to sine rule. You understand? So I cannot neglect it. And because I know that this angle is 140 degree, this is 18 degree, I can easily determine this angle using the sum of properties of a triangle, sum of angles in a triangle. Are you getting it? So for this, I'm going to have theta plus 140 degree plus 18 degree equals what? 180 degree. Sum of angles in the triangle. Theta is equals to 180 degree minus 140 degree plus 18 degree. That is what? 158 degree. So I'm going to have 158 degree. Theta is equals to 180 degree minus 158 degree. That is what? 22 degree. 22 degree. Okay. So the angle here is 22. So we can easily determine the value of line LS. C is now, we don't know the value of C, so let's represent C over sine C. Capital letter C is the angle that this side C face. Don't forget. So the angle is what? 18 degrees. So I'm going to have sine 18 degree equals to L. L is the small letter L is 317 centimeter. 317 centimeter. Oh, meter, sorry. The unit is meter. Are you getting it? So all over sine L. Sine big letter capital letter L. Capital letter L now is what? 22. Do you get it? So this is 22 degree. Do you understand? Okay. Now, sine 18. Okay, let's cross multiply. I'm going to have C sine 22 degree equals to what? 317 multiplied by sine 18 degree. Okay. Sine 22 degree, sine 22 is equals to 0.7, oh, sorry, 0.33746. Okay. Multiplied by C equals to 370. Okay, sine 18. Sine 18 degree is 0.3090. 0. Times 317. Are you getting it? Okay. Take the product of this. 0.3090 multiplied by 317. That is 97.953. 97.953. Okay. 0.3746C divided by 0.3746, 0.3746. Okay. Now 97.953 divided by 0.3746, that is 261.49. So C equals to 261.49. So you can approximate to the nearest meter. The value of C will be equals to 262 meter. Do you understand? So that is the solution to that question. You can see that immediately you are able to draw the diagram. The rest of the question becomes simple, okay? A ball moves from a point X and walks 285 meter to point Y on a bearing of 78 degree. He then moves due south to a point Z, which is 307 meter from X. Calculate the bearing of X from Z. The second question, the distance between Y, Z. Okay, please kindly pay attention. A boy moves from a point X and walks 285 meter to point Y on a bearing of 78 degrees. So let us first draw the cardinal point here. Okay, the bearing, this is point X. The boy moves from this point to another point, which is Y, and the bearing is 78 degrees. So that means that we're going to have Y around this side. This is Y, and the bearing is 78 degrees, and the distance is 285 meter. Okay, you can see the diagram. Okay, now
when the boy got to point Y, the boy then moved due south to a point Z. Okay, so he moved due south to a point Z. We don't know. Let's call this one Z. You understand? Okay, which is 307 meter from X. Now listen to the statement, please. Pay attention to that statement. Z is 307 meter from X. So the distance between X and Z, this is point Z. The distance between X and Z is what? 307 meters. So this distance is 307 meters. Do you understand? Okay. Now the goal is that we are looking for the bearing of X from Z and the distance between Y and Z, this distance. Okay, if this one is X, this one will be what? Small letter X. And if this one is Z, this side will be what? Small letter Z. And if this one is Y, if this side is Y, I mean, we have Y at this point, this side will be what? Small letter Y. So we are looking for X, 1. Then we are looking for the bearing of X from Z. Now, okay, looking at the diagram on the board, how can we calculate the value of X, which is the distance between Y and Z? How can we calculate the value of X? Well, to do that, since this is 78 degree, this angle will also be what? 78 degree. Do you understand? And if this is 78 degree, this will be what? 12 degree. Do you understand? Because the total angle that is here is what? 90. The total angle from this point to this point is 90. So 90 minus 78 is what? Is 12. So, and this angle that you see here is what? Alternate to this angle. So this angle was 12 degree. Do you understand? Okay, now I want to use the sine rule to find this angle Z. This angle is angle Z. I want to use the sine rule to find this angle. And to do that, I'm going to combine this side, this angle, and this side, and this angle, and this side. You understand? So with respect to what we have here, and sine rule is what? A over sine A over sine A equals to what? B over sine B. Now, I'm going to have Y, which is small letter y over sine Y. Sine big Y, sine capital letter Y equals to small letter Z all over sine capital letter Z. Where small letter Y is the side that we are given. Are you getting it? And big letter Y is the angle that the side faces. You understand? You can see that this side is facing this angle. So small letter Y is what? 307. 307 all over big letter Y, sine 78 degree equals to what? Z. Z is what? 285. So I'm going to have 285 meter all over sine Z. We don't know the value of Z. We don't know the value of this angle, which is Z. So I'm going to put sine Z. Do you understand? Okay. Now, from this, I'm going to have 307 sine Z equals to what? 285 sine 78 degree. Do you understand? Okay. Sine 78 degree. Sine 78 degree is 0.9781. So I'm going to have 285 multiplied by 0.9781 equals to what? So divide by 307. This over 307. So sine Z is equals to 285 multiplied by 0.9781. That is 278.7585. Okay, this over 307. Okay, so sine Z is equals to, that is 0.9080. 0.9080. Okay, so to get the value of Z, you have to take the sine inverse of Z, right? So I'm going to have Z equals to the sine inverse of 0.9080. Okay, so the value of Z is equals to, you have to take the sine inverse of 0.9080. So 0.9080, I'm coming. That is 65.23 degree. Okay, so the value of this angle is 65 degree to the nearest degree. Okay, now if this angle is 65 degree, this angle will also be what? 65 degree. Do you know the reason? Because they are alternate to each other. Are you getting it? So if this angle is 65 degree, the smallest angle that is here will be what? 90 minus 65 degree, and that is what? 25 degree. So this angle is 25 degree. So the sum of angle that is here is what? 37 degree. Do you understand? The reason why I need to get this angle is because I want to find the total angle that is here, so that I can make use of cosine rule to determine the distance between Y and Z. Do you understand? If you understand, listen to the explanation again. I first bring out the diagram. Okay, having bring out the diagram, I label the side. Are you getting it? Now I use cosine rule to determine this angle. First, if this is 78 degree, 78 degree is alternate to this. So this angle will also be what, 78 degree, because alternate angles are equal, you know. Now, if this is 78 degree, the smallest angle that is here will be what, 12 degree, because that will be what, 90 minus 78 degree. And this 12 degree is alternate to this angle. That's why I get 12 degree here. Now, I need to get this angle. The simple reason is because I need the total angle that is here. Because I can, if I know the total angle, I can make use of cosine rule to calculate the value, the distance between y and z. Do you understand? So, I got this angle using sine rule. Are you getting it? So, having gotten this angle at 65 degree, this angle that you see here is alternate to this angle. So, this will also be what, 65 degree. So, and we know that from this side, the angle that, the sum of angle from this point to this point is what, 90 degree, you know. So, if I want to get the smallest angle, that will be what, 90 minus 65 degree. So, 90 minus 65 degree is 25 degree. So, the sum of angle that is here will be what, 12 degree plus 25 degree. That is what, 37 degree, okay? So, having gotten to this point, I can make use of the cosine rule now to get the value of x. All you have to do is just pay attention. According to cosine rule is this: a squared equals to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Are you getting it? That is, a, the square of the side that you are looking for, equals to the sum of the square of the other two sides that you are given, minus 2 multiplied by the product of that two sides, cos the angle that the side that you are looking for face. Are you getting it? So, if I want to get the value of x now, I'm going to have x squared is equals to y squared plus z squared minus 2yz cos x. Do you understand? Okay, x squared, x is unknown, x squared equals to y squared, y is 307, I'm going to have 307 squared plus z squared, which is what, 285 squared, minus 2 multiplied by 307 multiplied by 285 cos 37 degree. Do you understand? Okay, 37 degree is the angle that x face. You understand? That's how I got 37 degree. This big this capital letter x, listen, this capital letter x that you see here is the angle that side x face. Are you getting it? So let us proceed. So for this, I'm going to have x squared is equals to 307 squared is 94,249. 94,249 plus, okay, 285 squared, that is 81,225. So I'm going to have plus 81,225 minus 2 multiplied by 307 times 285, that is 87,495. 87,495, okay? Cos 37 degree. Cos 37 degree is 0.7986 multiplied by 0.7986, okay? So x squared is equals to 994,249 plus 81,225. That is 175,474 minus, okay, 2 times 2 multiplied by 87,495. That is 174,980. So for this, I'm going to have 174,000 times 0.7986, okay? So x squared is equals to 175,474 minus 174,990 times 0.7986. That is 139,747.014, okay? So x squared is equals to 175,474 minus 139,747.014. That is 35,726.986. To get the value of x, you have to take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to have the square root of this, the square root of this. So x is equals to the square root of 35,726.986 That is 189.015. You can approximate this to the nearest meter. So the value of x will be 189 meter. Do you understand? So this side is 189 meter. So the distance between y and z is 189 meter. Please, I want to pay attention. You see, if you want to get this value, I mean the distance between y and z, you can make use of any of sine rule or cosine rule. If you want to use sine rule, you are going to have x over sine x equals to this angle all over sine this angle, or this angle. I mean, listen to me carefully. If you want to make use of sine rule, because you are looking for this side, let's assume that you don't know the side before and you want to use sine rule to calculate the side. You can use sine rule, but I decide to use cosine, so don't be confused. Now, if you want to use sine rule, let's assume that you don't know this side before. You're going to have x, right? X all over sine x be equals to, now you can choose any of the side, because you can choose any of this side or any of the angle, equals to z all over sine z, or x over sine x equals to y over sine y, because we know the angle y and we also know the side y. We also know the side, we know the angle z as 65 degrees. We also know the side z. So you can use any of this or this. You are still going to arrive at this answer, 189 meter. Do you understand?
The second question says we should calculate the bearing of x from z. Even that's the first question. We are asked to calculate the bearing of x from z. To get the bearing of x from z, the bearing of x from z will be the sum of angle that ranges from the north pole to this point. You understand? That is the bearing of x from z. And from this point to this point is 90. This is 90. This is 90. So this smallest angle that is here, we need it. And because this is 25 degree, this 25 degree is alternate to this angle. So the bearing of x from z will be 90 degree. The bearing of x from z, that is the second question. 90 degree plus 90 degree plus 90 degree plus 25 degree, or 270 degree plus 25 degree. So that will be what? That is 295. Are you getting it? 295 degree. And you can also do it another way. Another method that we can use to do it is that you can subtract, since you know that this is 365 degree. I'm coming. Since you know that this angle that you see here is 65 degree, and we know that the sum of angles at this point is what? 360. So you can subtract 360 from 65 degree. That is what? 295 degree. You understand? So that is the solution to the first question. This is the second question. Under that question, this is the first question. So the bearing of x from z is 295 degree. Do you understand? Okay, let us proceed to the next question. A girl travels from garage A for 59 km to garage B on a bearing of 37 degree, and then turns right through 90 degree and travels for 119 km to garage C. What is the bearing of C from A if AC is 138 km? Okay, let's start by drawing out the diagram that we have. The first step is that you have to draw the diagram, you know. So put the cardinal point. Let me change the marker. So you put the cardinal point, then the bearing of garage A to garage B is what? 37 degrees. So 37 degree will be along this side. So this is 37 degree. Okay. And the distance is what? 59 kilometer. So 59 kilometer. So this is garage A. Let's put A. And this point that you see here is garage B. Let's put B. Now, the girl then turns right through 90 degree. So you know that bearing is measured from the north pole, right? Clockwise. Bearing is measured from the north pole clockwise. So through 90 degree means that the girl turns from this point to this point and travels 119 kilometers to garage C. That is, this is garage C, and the distance is 119 kilometers. Do you understand? So that is the question. The question says that we should calculate what is the bearing of C from A. What is the bearing of C from A? So let us go this line. The bearing of C from A. if AC is 138 kilometers, so AC, that is this distance, the distance from garage A to garage C is 138 kilometers. So I'm going to have 138 kilometers here. So the bearing of A, listen to me carefully, listen, it's simple. The bearing of A from C will be the angle that this thing covered. That is the direction of A from C, you understand? The direction of garage A with respect to garage C is the bearing of A from C, do you understand? And because bearing is measured in angles, are you getting it? We are trying to measure the direction between 2 points, and this direction is measured in angle. So that means that the angle that comes from the North Pole to this line, because this is the line that comes from garage C to garage A, do you understand? So we are looking for this angle. This angle is 90, this one is 90. So we need this small angle that is here. Let us call it theta. Are you getting it? Let's call it theta. Now, how do we get the value of theta? Well, to do that, don't forget that this theta that you see here, this theta that you see here is alternate to this angle. Theta is alternate to this angle. Do you understand? Listen to the explanation, it's simple. This theta that you see here, theta, let me bring it out. This is A, you know, and C is along this side. Are you getting it? The C is along this side. C is along this side, C, A, Abi, and the bearing of A from C will be the sum of angle from this point to this point, and this is 90, this is 90. So that means that we need this angle, which is what? Theta. This theta that you see here is alternate to this angle. Are you getting it? So if I know this angle, I can just add 90 plus theta to get the bearing of A from C. Do you understand? That's what I'm trying to explain. So to do that, we first have to get the smallest angle that is here. Do you understand? If you didn't understand, listen to the explanation again. I need the smallest angle that is here. So that is the first goal. How do we get this angle? Let us represent it as alpha, or yes, alpha. How do we get the value of alpha? To get the value of alpha, don't forget that the side that this angle faces is what? Is 119. So let us call it A. And the side that this angle, okay, let us use this. This 37 is alternate to this angle, 37 degree, and this is what? 90 degree. So the total angle that is here is what? 127 degree. Do you know the reason why I get this angle first? The reason is simply because I want to make use of sine rule. Do you understand? Or I want to make use of yes, sine rule. I want to make use of sine rule to get the value of alpha. So I'm looking for, I can only make use of sine rule if I know this angle. Do you understand? So I first get this angle as 127 degree. And this angle is easily gotten because this side that you see here, this angle that you see here is alternate to this angle. And because this is 90, the sum of angle here is also 90. So 90 plus 37 degree will give me what? 127 degrees. So with respect to this diagram, I can easily get the value of alpha by combining this angle and this side, and this angle, which is alpha itself, and this side. Do you understand? And according to sine rule, I'm going to have A over sine A equals to, now this angle is B. So this side is what? B. This is side B equals to B over sine B. Do you understand? A is what? 119 kilometer. 119 all over sine A. I'm going to have, instead of A, I'm going to call it alpha. Do you understand? So sine alpha equals to B. B is what? 138 kilometer. So I'm going to have 138 all over sine B. B is what? 127 degrees. So I'm going to have 127 degree. Okay? Sine alpha is equals to 119 sine 127 degree. Do you understand? What I did here was that I just cross multiply. Do you understand? I've not done anything. I just cross multiply. Now, sine, I'm coming. Let me use the calculator here. Sine 127 degree. Sine 127 is 0.7986. So I'm going to have 119 multiplied by 0.7986. Okay, sine alpha, this over 138. Do you know what I did? I just divide both sides by 138. So sine alpha is equals to 119 times 0.7986. That is 95.0334, okay, over 138, okay. So alpha is equals to the sine inverse of, okay, 95.0334 divided by 138. That is 0.6886. 0.6886. So alpha is equals to the, what is the sine inverse of 0.6886? That is 43.419. Okay, 519. 43.519 degree. Okay, now this angle that you see here is 44 degree to the nearest degree. 44 degree. Okay, alpha is equals to 44 degree. Okay, so this angle that you see here is 44 degree. Now if this angle, listen to me carefully, if this angle is 44 degree, in fact this angle that you see here is 44 degree. This theta that you see here is alternate to the total angle that is here. Do you understand? This theta that you see here is alternate to the sum of this angle and this angle. Just like what I have here, this theta is alternate to this, angle. Do you understand? So that means that if I want to get the value of theta, I need to sum 37 and 44 degree together. Do you understand? So 37 plus 44 degree, theta is equals to 37 degree plus 44 degree. Theta is equals to 81 degree. Now listen to me carefully. This is not the final answer. The final answer will now be the sum of 90, 90 and theta. Okay, so the bearing of A from C is equals to 90 degree plus 90 degree. That is what? 180 degree. 180 degree plus 81 degree. Okay, so 180 degree plus 81 degree, that is what? 261 degree. That is the bearing of A from C. Oh, sorry, I just checked the question now and I discovered that we are actually looking for the bearing of C from A. This one that this value that I have here is the bearing of A from C. Now to get the bearing of C from A, it will be the sum of angle from this point to this point. You understand? The meaning of that statement is that in which direction is C from point A? Do you understand now? The meaning of the bearing of C from A is that in which direction is C from A? And because in bearing, we are trying to measure the direction between 2 points, and this direction is measured in degree. So we have to move, the bearing of C from A will be the sum of angle that ranges from the North Pole to the line that goes from A to C. And it is this line that goes from A to C. So the sum of this angle and this angle will be the bearing of A, the bearing of C from A. So the bearing of C from A will be equals to 44 degree plus 37 degree, which is what? 81 degree. So that is the bearing of C from A. Do you understand? Are you getting it? So it's simple. Okay, it's simple. So the correct answer is this. And if you also want to get the bearing of A from C, that is 261 degree. This one is correct, but that is not what we were asked to find. So I just checked the question and I discovered that I'm actually solving another question. Okay, so that is the solution to that question. Okay, a hunter walks 400 meters up a hill which slopes at an angle of 20 degrees to the horizontal. Calculate, correct the nearest meter, horizontal distance he covered, vertical height through which he rises. Okay, now let's interpret the question in the diagram. The hunter walks 400 meters up a hill. So this is how we're going to have it. 400 meters up a hill. Let me change the marker, okay? 400 meters up a hill. This is 400 meters. Okay? And it slopes at an angle of 20 degrees to the horizontal. This is the horizontal, okay? 20 degrees to the horizontal. Calculate, correct to the nearest meter, the horizontal distance he covered, okay? Then the vertical height through which he rises. Now, we are looking for two things. The horizontal distance is covered and the vertical distance through which he rises. Now, listen. The horizontal distance, this is the hunter, H. This is the top of the hill. Are you getting it? Let's call this one point O. Are you getting it? So we are looking for the horizontal distance. The horizontal distance is covered is line HO or line OH. Line OH. Line OH. To get the value of line OH, this is the angle that we are given. This side will be the what? Opposite, and this side will be the what? Adjacent. Okay? And why this is the hypotenuse? To get the value of the adjacent, what trigonometric ratio are we going to use that combines adjacent and hypotenuse? That is tan. You understand? So I'm going to have cos theta cos 20 degree equals to adjacent. Let's represent the adjacent as x. X all over hypotenuse, which is what? 400. So I'm going to have x equals to what? 400 cos 20 degree. X is equals to 400 cos 20 degree. It give us 0. Okay, for cos 20 degree is what? 0.9397. 400 multiplied by 0.9397. So x is equals to, this times this is what? 376. Okay, so the value of this is 376 meter. So the horizontal distance that the farmer covered is what? 376 meter. Now, how do we get the second question? The second question says we should calculate the height which it rises. Let me check the question. Yes, the vertical height through which it rises. So we are looking for this opposite now. You can calculate the opposite using two methods. You can use the Pythagoras theorem, and you can also make use of the trigonometric ratio. But here I'm going to make use of trigonometric ratio. Now I'm looking for the opposite. Let us represent the opposite as y. To get the value of y, we are given that we know the hypotenuse as what? As 400 meter. So to get the value of y, you can just make use of sine. So the sine of the angle that we are given, which is what? 20 degree, equals to what? The opposite, which is what? Y all over hypotenuse, which is 400. So y equals to what? 400 sine 20 degree. Y equals to 400. What is sine 20 degree? Sine 20 degree is 0.3420. 400 times 0.3420. Y equals to 437 meter. So the value of this 137 meter. So that is the solution to that question. Do you understand it? Okay, now let's proceed to the next question. The vertical height through which it rises is this, while the horizontal distance is covered is this. Now let's look at one more question on bearing and distance. Even this one that you see here is coming from angle of elevation and depression. You see, all these angle of elevation and depression, bearing, even trigonometric ratio as a whole, they are interwoven. You understand? So I just I put it among the questions, so don't be confused. A boy walks 60 meters on a bearing of 35 degree and then 300 meters due east. How far is he from a starting point? Okay, a boy walks 60 meters on a bearing of 35 degree. Let's do the cardinal point. Okay, 35 degree will be somewhere here, and the distance is what? 60 meters. Okay, the boy walks on a bearing of 35 degree. He walks 60 meters on a bearing of 35 degree. So this is 35 degree. Do you understand? On a bearing of 35 degree, and then due east. Having gotten to this point, the boy walks due east. So this is north, south, west, and east. So, and the distance that he covered is what? 300 meters. So let's call this one 300 meters. Draw another cardinal point. Okay, 300 meters. Now, the goals of the question is that we should calculate how far is he from a starting point. This is the starting point. So what you are looking for now is this distance. Please don't mind my straight line. Yours have to be straight because you have to make use of ruler. Okay, so this is the distance that you're looking for. Let us call this point A, point B, and point C. Okay, now if this one is capital letter B, this will be what? Small letter B. This capital letter C, this will be what? Small letter C. Capital letter A, small letter A. Do you understand? Okay, with respect to what we have on the board, how can we calculate the value of this distance? Well, to do that, it's simple. We can make use of cosine rule. But before we can make use of cosine rule, we need to get the angle that this side that we're looking for, the angle that it faces, we have to get the angle. And if you look at the diagram, you will discover that this side faces this angle. Are you getting it? So I need the value of this angle. To get the value of this angle, we know that this one is 35. 35 degree is alternate to this angle. This will also be what? 35 degree. Okay. Now this angle that you see here is what? 90 degree. Are you getting it? So 90 plus 35 degree, that is what? 125 degree. So the angle that is here is what? 125 degree. Do you understand? Okay. Now, having gotten the value of this angle, we can now proceed to use cosine rule. According to cosine rule, the square of the side that we are looking for, b squared, equals to the sum of the square of the other two sides. You understand? So I'm going to have 60 squared. Okay, let's first write it out. The square of the side that we are looking for, we are looking for this side, which is b, right? Equals to the sum of the square of the other two sides. That is what? A squared plus b squared minus 2 multiplied by the product of the other two sides. That is what? AB. Cos the angle that the side that we are looking for, the angle that it faces, that is it. Cos capital letter B. Do you understand the solution? The meaning of cosine rule now? The square of the side that you are looking for equals to the sum of the square of the other two sides that you are given minus 2 multiplied by the product of these two sides cos the side cos the angle that the side that you're looking for, the angle that it faces. Are you getting it? So that is the reason why I need to first calculate this angle before I can make use of the cosine rule to calculate the value of b. Do you understand? Okay, so I'm going to have b squared equals to a squared. A is 300. I'm going to have 300 squared plus b squared. B is 60. So I'm going to have 60 squared minus 2 multiplied by 300 times 60 cos 125 degree. Okay, let me take the calculator because I need the cos of 125. Do you understand? Now let's proceed. B squared is equals to 300 squared is 90. 90,000 plus 60 squared, that is what? 3,600 minus 2 multiplied by 18,000 cos 125. I'm coming. Cos 125. I'm coming. Cos 120. Cos 125 is negative 0.5734 multiplied by minus 0.5734. Do you understand? 36. Okay. Do you understand this? 300 squared is 90. Are you getting it? And 60 squared is 3,600. 300 times 60 is 18,000. Cos 125 is negative 0.5736 because it is only sine that is positive in the second quadrant, and 125 is in second quadrant, so cos is negative. So that's why we have negative sign. Okay, so b squared is equals to 90,000 plus 3,600. That is what? 93,600 minus 2 times 18,000. That is what? Minus 36,000. Multiplied by minus 0.5736. Okay, 18,000. Okay, 36,000. Sorry, 36,000 times. Okay, negative 36,000 times negative 0.5736. That is 20,649.6. B squared is equals to 93,600 plus 20,649.6. Okay, so B is equals to 93,000. That is 114,249.6. Okay, now to get the value of B, you have to take the square root of both sides. See, it's simple. Okay, 93,600 plus this, you're going to have this. And to get the value of B, you have to take the square root of both sides so as to help you to eliminate the square that is present on the top of B. So this is square root and this is square root. B is equals to the square root of 114,249.6. What is the square root? That is 338.0. So 338 meter. So the distance between the starting point is 338 meter. Do you understand? If you didn't understand, listen to the explanation again. Okay, it's simple. So the diagram will determine the formula. Let's consider the question that we have on the screen. A car leaves its garage and travels for 30 kilometers on a bearing of 145 degree, then 10 kilometers on a bearing of 250 degree. Calculate A, the distance traveled from the starting point. B, the bearing of the starting point from the car. Okay, you see, in our previous class, we look at some basic examples on bearing. Are you getting it? So the first step is that it is important that you know how to draw the diagram. Okay, so let us interpret the sentences that we are given. Let us interpret it into diagram. Okay, now we are told that a car leaves its garage and traveled for 30 kilometers on a bearing of 145 degree. Okay, the first step is to draw the cardinal point. Okay, let's draw the cardinal point. This is the cardinal point, and I told you in the previous class that from this point to this point is 90 degree. This one also is 90 degree. This is also 90 degree. This is also 90 degree. So all the total angle on this cardinal point is what? 360 degree. Do you understand? Okay, now we are going to draw the cardinal point and you are going to measure 145 degree. So draw the cardinal point. 145 degree will falls 145 degree will be around this side. Do you understand? Okay, so it leaves its garage and travels for 30 kilometers on a bearing of 145 degrees. So that means that we're going to do something like this. The distance is what? 30 kilometers. So this is 30 kilometers. Do you understand? Okay, now the then 10 kilometers on a bearing of 250 degrees. Having traveled 30 kilometers, the same car, when it got to this point, it traveled 10 kilometers on a bearing of 250 degrees. So from this point to this point is 90, 180, 250 will be around this side. Do you understand? So, and the bearing is what? The bearing of that distance is the bearing is 250 degrees and the distance is what? 10 kilometers. So 10 kilometers will be shorter in length compared to 30 kilometers. Do you understand? So we're going to have something like this. Put the cardinal point here as well. So this is the diagram. You can see how I draw the diagram. You see, just master. I'm coming. So this is the diagram. Now, please kindly pay attention. This is 10 kilometers. This is what? 250 degree. Do you know? And this angle that you see here is what? 145. Abi? Yes, 145 degree. Now, the goal is to first calculate the distance traveled from the starting point. So the first step is that we are looking for this distance. Do you understand? We are looking for this distance. So how do we get? Please permit me to let me draw this diagram very well so that we won't make mistake. This is where the cardinal point is. Are you getting it? So it's here. Okay, so we are looking for this distance. Now let us call this point A. Let's call this point B. Let us call this point C. Are you getting it? Okay. If you want to calculate this side that you see here, let us represent it as B. And this side, let us represent it as C, small letter C. Then this side, let us represent it as small letter A. I'm very sure you are well familiar with sine rule and cosine rule because you are going to use the concept in bearing. Are you getting it? So, if you want to learn more on cosine rule or sine rule, kindly check the link in the description of this video and watch the class. Do you understand? Okay, now, how do we get this distance? To get this distance, let us first determine the angle that is here. This angle. Let us get this angle. Oh. Let us get this angle. Okay? Now, to get this angle, we know that from this point to this point is what? Is 250. And I want to bring out this bearing. This point that you see here is point B. Do you understand? And from what we have here, from this point to this point is what? 250 degree. Now, what will be the smallest angle that is here? The smallest angle that is here will be 20 degree. Do you understand? Because I've taught you in the previous class that the total angle that is the total angle from this point to this point is 270 degree. So if I want to get the smallest angle that is here, since I know that from this point to this point is 250, that means that the smallest angle that is here will be what? 20 degree. Do you understand? So this smallest angle that you see here is 20 degree. 20 degree. Do you understand? Okay. Now, before I can even, don't forget that we are trying to get the total angle that is here. Are you getting it? So we have already gotten half of the angle. What of this angle? How can we calculate this angle? Listen to me carefully. You know that from this point to this point is what? 145 degree. If you want to get this angle that you see here, this angle is alternate to this angle. So if I know the value of this angle, I can get the value of this angle. Do you understand? Okay. Now let me bring out the cardinal point so that you can understand it. This is it. From this side, from this point to this point is 145 degree. Now listen to this carefully. We know that from this point to this point is what? 180, right? Yes. From this point to this point is 180. So if I from this point to this point is 145, what would be the value of this smallest angle? That would be what? 180 minus 45, right? And 180 minus 45 is what? 35. So this angle is 35 degree. So the small angle, the value of x here is 35 degree. 35 degree. So this angle that you see here will also be 35 degree. So I'm going to have 35 degree. Do you understand? So the sum of the angle that is here, okay, let me remove this 30 kilometer. The sum of the angle that is here will be what? 35 plus 20, that is what? 55 degree. So this angle is 55 degree. Do you understand? If you understand, listen to the explanation again. I first bring out the diagram, okay? Now we are asked to calculate the distance from the starting point. This is the finishing, this is where the car stop. Are you getting it? Now, this is the starting point of the car. So we are looking for this distance. Do you understand? So I represent this distance as small letter b because it is the distance that is facing the big letter B. Are you getting it? Just like in sine rule. Are you getting it? So I've not done anything. Now, having represent this distance as small letter b, if I want to make use of cosine rule, I have to find the angle that is opposite to this side, and that is what? This angle. This angle B is opposite to this side small letter b. Do you understand? So that's why I calculate the angle. Now, according to cosine rule, we can easily determine the distance AC because we know that from this point to this point is 30 kilometer. Do you understand? So now we can easily determine the value of B using cosine rule. Don't forget that B represents line AC, which is the distance of the car from its starting point. Do you understand? Okay. Now let us use the cosine rule to determine the value of B. Now with respect to this diagram, okay, let me draw this diagram very well. Let me draw this point very well, okay? So, with respect to the diagram that we have on the board, let us calculate the value of B. Don't forget that B represents the distance from this, the distance of the car from the starting point to where it stops. Do you understand? Okay. So I'm going to have B squared cosine rule now. Let me write it out. Cosine rule is A squared equals to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. Now listen to me carefully. I'm going to explain. You see, this A that you see here is the side that you are looking for. Are you getting it? Why B squared is one of the other two sides that was given. C is also one of the other side that was given, and cos A. Are you getting it? A that you see here is the cos of the angle that face the side that you are looking for. Do you understand? That is why I first determine the angle that face B, because B is what I'm looking for now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Listen to the explanation again. This is cosine rule. If I want to calculate the side AC, okay, this is C. If I want to get the side AC, I need the value of the angle that faces this side. Are you getting it? So, and the reason why I need this is because according to cosine rule, I must take the cos of that angle. Do you understand? So that is why I first determine this angle, and I've already gotten it as 55 degree. Do you get it? So with respect to the diagram that we are looking for b now. So I'm going to have, the formula is going to change. I'm going to have b squared equals to a squared. Don't forget that this side is a and this side is small letter b. Oh, this side is small letter c. Do you understand? This side is small letter c. So b squared equals to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos big letter b. Do you understand? So that's it. The formula changes with respect to the side that you are looking for. Are you getting it? Don't worry, as we go as we practice more questions on this topic, just watch this video to the very end, okay? You are going to understand every concept as touching, bearing, and distance, okay? So just pay attention when I'm explaining. So this is the side that you're looking for, equals to the sum of the square of the other two sides minus 2 multiplied by the product of the other two sides cos the angle that the side face. You get it? So now b squared equals to a squared. A is 10. I'm going to have 10 squared plus c squared. C is what? 30. So I'm going to have plus 30 squared minus 2 multiplied by 10 times 30 cos b. Don't forget that I told you that b is the angle that you have here is the angle that faces the side that you are looking for. So the angle that faces that side is what? 55 degrees. So I'm going to have cos 55 degree. Do you understand? So it's simple. Just pay attention. 10 square is what? 100. So I'm going to have b square equals to 10 squared 100 plus 30 square is 900 minus 2 multiplied by 300, because 10 times 30 is 300. So I'm going to have, now is the cos of 55 degree. Let's check. I think something is wrong. Let's check our solution. Oh, I think something is wrong with this calculation. Please let's check the diagram again. Okay, this angle, oh, this angle shouldn't be 35 degree. This angle should be 35 degree instead. The angle should be 35 degree. The reason is because if from this point to this point is 145, and we know that the triangle that is here is what? 180. Are you getting it? So if I subtract 145 from 180, I'm going to have 35. So the remaining small angle that is here should be 35. I don't want to make the same mistake. That's why I didn't cut it out of the video. Do you understand? So this is where 35 is, and this is 55 degree. Do you understand? How do I get 55 degree? The reason is simply because the angle that is here is 90. Are you getting it? And this is 35. This will also be what? 55, because 90 minus 35 will be what? 55. So that's why I got 55 here. So this angle is 55 and not 35. 55 degree. So if you sum 55 degree and 20 degree, you're going to have 75 degree. So the angle here should be 75 degree and not 55 degree. Do you understand? Listen to the explanation again. When I start this class, I do have this diagram based on the information that we are given about the car. The car travels at this distance on a bearing of 145 degree, right? Now, when you get to this point, it traveled on a bearing of 250 degree by 10 kilometers. Now, if you look at this, from this point to this point is 145, Abi, and we know that if I bring out a cardinal point, from this point to this point is 180. Is that not it? So, if 145 stop at this point, the smallest angle here will be 35 degrees, because I have to subtract 135 and 145 plus 180. Are you getting it? So this is 145, while this is 35. Now, we know that from this point to this point is 90, right? So if this is 35 degrees, this is what? 55 degrees, because 35 plus 55 will be 90. Do you understand? And if you want to get 55, that is 90 minus 35. It is this 55 that is alternate to what we have here. So if you sum 55 and 20 degrees, you're going to have 75 degrees. So the angle that's supposed to be here shouldn't be 55. It should be 75 degrees. Do you understand? Okay. I just get to know as I'm solving that we made a slight mistake. It is this angle that is alternate to this angle. Are you getting it? So let us proceed. Now let us take the cos of the cosine of 75 degrees. Cos 75 degrees is 0.2588. 0.2588. So I'm going to have 0.2588. So b squared equals to 1000 minus 2 times 300. That is what? Minus 600. Minus 600 times 0.2588. Do you understand? Okay. B squared is equals to 1000. 1000 minus 600 times 0.2588. That will give us 155.28. 155.28. Okay, so b squared is equals to 1000 minus 155.28. That is 844.72. 844.72. Okay, now please pay attention. To get the value of b, you have to take the square root of both sides. Okay, so I'm going to have the square root of this, the square root of this. So b is equals to the square root of 844.72. That is 29.06. 29.06 kilometers. So the length of this side, is 29 kilometer. 29 kilometer. 29 kilometer. Do you understand? So the distance of the car from the starting point is 29 kilometer. Now, having gotten this distance, the second question, we are to calculate the bearing of the starting point from the car. Don't forget that this is where the car. So the bearing of the starting point from the car. So the bearing of the starting point from the car will be the angle that ranges from this point to this point. Do you understand? Don't forget that if I'm to draw this diagram very well, if I'm to draw the diagram very well, I'm going to have something like this. Are you getting it? I'm going to have a line drawn like this. I don't know. So the bearing of the starting point from the car will be the bearing from this point to this point. You understand? So, and to do that, I need to know the angle that is here. I need to know this angle. This angle that you see here, I need to know it. So to calculate the angle, I'm going to use the sine rule. You understand? Because now the angle is with respect to C, and the side that this angle face is what? Is 30 kilometer. So I can make use of the sine rule by combining this side and this angle, and this side and this angle. You understand? So according to sine rule, with respect to the diagram that we have on the board, I'm going to have C over sine C is equals to B all over sine B. Do you understand? Now C is what? 30 kilometers. I'm going to have 30 all over sine C. You don't know the value of C, right? C is C is the angle that you're looking for. Are you getting it? The big letter C is the angle that you're looking for. So I'm going to put sine C is equals to B. B is now 29.06. 29.06 kilometer all over sine B. B is what? 75 degrees. So I'm going to have sine 75 degree. Okay. The next step is that I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to have 29.06 sine C is equals to, that is 29 times sine C. I'm going to have 29.06 sine C equals to 30 sine 45. Sine 75 degree. Okay. Now, to get the value of C, I'm going to divide this by what? 29.06. 29.06 all over 29.06. Okay. So sine C is equals to sine 75 degree is 0.9659. So I'm going to have 30 multiplied by 0.9659 all over 29.06. So sine C is equals to 30 times 0.9659. That is 28.97. 28.977. Okay. So this over 29.06. So C equals to 28.977 divided by 29.06. That will give us 0.9971. I'm going to have C equals to the sine inverse of 0.9971. Okay. So C equals to the sine inverse of 0.9971 is 85.64. 85.64. Okay. So the angle that is here, the angle here is 85.64.
So the angle here is 85.64. Now listen to me carefully. You know that we are asked to determine the bearing of the starting point from the car. And this is where the car is now. This is point C. This is where the car is. So to get the bearing of the starting point from the car, we need this angle, and we've already gotten the angle as what? 85.64. Now the bearing of the starting point from the car will be the direction of the starting point with respect to the car. Are you getting it? And we've learned in our previous class that bearing is the measurement of the angle between 2 points, and this angle is measured in degree. Like the measurement of the direction between 2 points, and this direction is measured in degree. Are you getting it? So that means that the bearing of the starting point which is A, from the car, which is C, will be the angle that comes from this point to this point. You understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? If you didn't understand, listen to the explanation again. I'm going to explain again. If you understand, listen. It's simple. The bearing of the starting point from the car will be the bearing that the angle that comes from this point. This is the North Pole now. The angle that comes from this point to this point. Are you getting it? Now, I've taught you alternate angle. This angle that you see here is not included. I drew out this diagram to help you to simplify the solution to the question. You know, and also I corrected the diagram in this place. Do you understand? So I just bring out these angles, I bring it out so as to help you to simplify the question. Now, before I can calculate the angle, the bearing of the starting point from the car, we've known that this angle to this point is 85.64. This angle, this is 20, is alternate to this angle. This will also be 20. Are you getting it? So because the angle that comes from this point to this point is 90, so this angle will be 70. Do you understand? Okay, to get the smallest angle that is here, I'm going to subtract 85.6. I'm going to subtract 70 from 85.64. Okay, 85.64 minus 70. That will give us 15.64. Okay, now the angle that is here will be 15.64. Do you understand? So if this is 15.64, what will be this angle? It's simple. Just subtract 15.64 from 85.64. 85.64 minus 15. 85.64 minus 15.64. That will be 70, okay? So having gotten the smallest angle here as 15.64, we can now calculate the bearing of the starting point from the car. All you have to do is that just sum 90 plus 90 plus 90. That is what? 270. So I need the smallest angle that is here. So the smallest angle that is here will be what? 90 minus 15.64. 90 minus 15.64 is 74.36. So I'm going to have 74.36. So the bearing of the starting point from the car is 270 degree plus 74.36 degree. Okay, so that is 344.36 degree, or 344 degree. Okay, that is the final answer. And you can also do it the other way around. Another way to do this is that just subtract 360 subtract 15.64 from 360. That is 360 minus 15.64. That is 344.36. That is the another way to do it. That is, if you don't want to do it this way, you can use this method, because you know that the sum of angles is the total angle that is present on this cardinal point is what? 360, right? So, and you know that the smallest angle that is here should not be part of the bearing of the starting point from the car. So all you have to do is that just subtract 15.64 from 360. You're going to have 344 degree. That is the final answer, okay? So that is the solution to that question.
Don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel. Also share the video to your classmates and coursemate, okay? So that will be all for this class. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. See you in the next class.